Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again inside the gymnasium at Milford High School as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. I am Tim Coet, set to bring you another edition of Lady Hawks volleyball this evening. Milford taking on a visitor from the Kelly Rex division in the Attleboro Lady Bombardiers. Milford in a bit of a funk after one of their best winning streaks of the season. They have now fallen to 5-5 overall on the season. They hold on to sole possession of third place in the Davenport division, and they take on an Attleboro squad really struggling to put up W's so far on the year. They stand at 1-10 overall on the season, but a little bit more on those standings as we give you a full look at the Hockomock League standings on your screen right now. Milford falling to 5-5 after suffering 3 consecutive defeats. We just mentioned it, their best winning streak of the season came to an end right as the calendar flipped to October. 4 straight victories, but they followed that up with 3 consecutive losses to Stoughton and Oliver Ames, and most recently to the first place team in the Davenport division in the Canton Lady Bulldogs. That was a match we had covered for you last Friday night. It was a competitive match, certainly not indicative of that 3-1 final score, but Milford losing a bit of their composure after a controversial call late in the third set, and they were not able to recover. Canton getting the win, and Canton ultimately bolstering their spot atop those Davenport standings with the 3-1 victory over Milford. So the Lady Hawks look to regroup, still in a good spot overall on the season, holding on to that third place position ahead of last year's Davenport division champs North Attleboro, who comes in under 500 at 4-6. Sharon and Foxborough will round out those Davenport standings. And then, as we mentioned, Attleboro right now in last place in the Kelly Rex at just 1-10 overall on the year, a good distance behind what has been a wagon of a team so far on the season in the Franklin Lady Panthers, an undefeated 11-0 so far on the season. Franklin playing very impressive volleyball so far on the year, already sewing up a spot in the MIAA tournament. So those are a look at your updated Hockomock League standings. And so for Milford, an opportunity to get back on the winning path here tonight. And still, as we mentioned, overall on the season at 500, still a playoff berth well within their grasp as they now enter into the second half of their regular season schedule. This matchup here against Attleboro tonight, they'll be on the road later on this week taking on Sharon before they return home again on the 15th to take on Foxborough. So the wins will start to take on added importance to this Milford team that has gained a good deal of experience against some very tough competition so far on the season. So they will look to keep it going against a team they were able to defeat when they met up in Attleboro last season. It ended up being a 3-1 victory for Milford over Attleboro. They ended up faltering in the opening set, but they were able to take care of business from there. So hoping to make it victories in consecutive seasons against this Lady Bombardier squad. We look forward to bringing you all of the action here on Milford TV. And for those of you tuned into our live streaming coverage, once again bringing you live streaming coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics via the live stream app and also on milfordtv.net. So we welcome you in. And it should be a fun one here in the Milford gym tonight. Again, the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks welcoming in the Attleboro Lady Bombardiers. We will have the start of set number 1 when we come back next here on Milford TV. And welcome back inside the Milford gym. Time to get this matchup started. Milford taking on the Attleboro Lady Bombardiers of the Kelly Rex division. Milford TV back in the Milford gym, which is right where we were last Friday night. We had an opportunity to take in an outstanding match between Milford and Canton. We'll look forward to that matchup every year. We've been able to bring it to you for the last several seasons. 2 quality programs. Canton already nearly sewing up a playoff berth. Milford looking to get back into the playoffs this year now with a record of 5-5. Attleboro struggling out of the chute, but looking to get on the winning ways here in the second half of the season. Attleboro will serve first, and the first serve is distributed into the net for an opening point for the Lady Scarlet Hawks. And that will put Sydney Sutton behind the service line for the first Milford serve of the game. Now played by the front row of Attleboro, but over the back line. So 2 quick points for Milford. For Attleboro, it has been a struggle, coming in with 10 losses overall on the season, as this serve from Sutton is met on the back row. Now the attacking shot from the left side is good for the kill. That looked to be Chelsea Calgani, one of the Calcagni, excuse me, one of the senior captains for Attleboro. And now Sutton with the dig all the way over towards the Milford bench, and Williamson making a good bid but could not quite track it down. Haley Fake on serve for Attleboro, and quickly the Lady Bombardiers respond to tie it up just in the opening minutes of this first set action. Sutton now diving for it, is able to send it over with one strike, but Attleboro then sends the return to the vacated back line. Milford getting sucked in too close to the net on that play. And so Attleboro takes their first lead of the match now at 3-2. And now some bad communication between Corsini and Pinto, but Milford survives it. Now another chance on the left side for Calcagni, and eventually Milford is able to win it. So back and forth we go through these early points, and now Williamson will serve for the first time this evening. Getting this match underway right around 5:45 in the evening, as we see Elise Fauerbach at the front. That one goes off her hands for the Attleboro point. So the Lady Bombardiers, just as they did when the two teams met up last year, playing Milford tough through this opening set. Leading at 4-3 with now their libero Brooke Casey on serve. I beg your pardon, Jess Matheson. Doing a little roster work as we go here for Attleboro, as there were some number discrepancies from the roster that we had at game time, but want to make sure we get all the names right. Here's Reardon now punching that one over one-handed, and she's going to get the kill as that ball drifts off out of play. The deflection. And Milford back on top now, as we'll see some substitutions. Alvarenga and also Lauren Corsini making their way onto the court, but then back to the bench, as that return shot nearly grabs a piece of the official up top by the net. Goes out of play, and Milford now with the 6-4 advantage. Senior captain Brianna Maeda on serve. A first-year head coach on the sidelines for Attleboro, as Courtney DeRocher took over the program for this season, was an assistant last year, as the Lady Bombardiers able to stuff that spike attempt up front by Allison Corsini. Allison had an outstanding game against Canton on Friday despite the loss, played very well. Now to the back line for Williamson. Reardon will set it up for Pinto on the left side, and Pinto's blast is met by Attleboro, but Corsini there to drop it in for the kill. And now we will see the duo of Lauren Corsini and Anna Alvarenga make their way onto the court with the score Milford 7 and Attleboro 5. And Alvarenga with a quick ace on her first serve attempt. Alvarenga now with that ace, she now has 8 overall on the season, and this one will not be returned. Some quick sinking action on these first two serves from Alvarenga. So 3 straight serves can't be returned. The score reading 10-5. This one a little more elevated from Alvarenga, playable on the back row. Now sent back over, Alvarenga's able to make the play. Now Pinto gives away to Corsini. Over the middle now, and past the dive of Alvarenga that time, Attleboro is able to get the kill. I believe that was Katasevskis. Amanda Katasevskis, one of the captains for the Attleboro Lady Bombardiers, along with Faith Hindi and Chelsea Calcagni. Milford able to jump right back on serve now with Nina Pinto. Pinto second on the team with 15 aces. A tough deflection off the back row, but Attleboro is able to return. Now Julia Reardon with a quick play up front. Attleboro keeps it alive. Now Sutton. And again, Reardon will flick it over the net. Pinto tracks it down. Now Williamson can't save it. And that point looked to be Milford's for the taking, but Attleboro with some scrappy play up front, able to adjust to a couple of kill attempts by Reardon. So 11-7 now as the serve will drift wide and out of play from Katasevskis. A 5-point advantage for Milford, as we will now see the junior captain Julia Reardon take over on serve. And a couple of players collide going after that one on the back row, and it does not get returned. Impressive play all around the floor for Julia Reardon this season, but in particular, leading this team in assists. She has 228 assists coming into this game. The next highest total on the team is 20. That is Elise Fauerbach. The primary setter for this offense. And helping her team now from the service line to open up a 7-point advantage. And Attleboro letting that one go. Too strong that time for Julia Reardon. Brings us to a 14-8 score, and now the serve will go to Anna Leonardo. And Williamson in one hit able to return it, but Attleboro with the spike out of the reach of a diving Sydney Sutton. Milford trying to break out of that 3-game losing streak. And for Attleboro, their first win of the season came in a match back on October 3rd against Sharon. Attleboro losing the first 2 sets of that match, but they were able to battle their way back and earn an emotional victory. They followed that up, however, with a date against a team that has been unbeatable so far on the season in the Franklin Lady Panthers, and Franklin dispatching Attleboro in 3 sets. And so Attleboro with their 1 win on the season. Outside of that, they've had just 2 other matches in which they've been able to claim set victories. They have 8 sweep defeats on the season. Here's Corsini over the middle, a booming shot, but Attleboro is able to absorb it. Now Williamson from the left side. And this time Attleboro cannot return into the net. from Chelsea Galkagani. And a timeout is called for. 17-9 the score. Milford on top of Attleboro. We will take the timeout as well on this coverage of Milford High School girls volleyball on Milford TV. Out of the timeout, Sydney Sutton to serve for Milford, up 17-9. And the shot lofted over from the middle by Hannah Tarbox, and now too strong for Milford. Attleboro could not counter. Sutton now looking to give Milford a double-digit lead in the set. Cagney, the first one to get there. Drifts over the net for Fauerbach, and now to Williamson. But Milford called for the double hit. And now Haley Fake back on serve. And that one gets a piece of the net but goes over. Sutton was able to adjust, and now this one takes a roll across the net and lands back on the Milford side. So the luck was all on the Attleboro side on the net on that volley. Cuts it to an 18-11 score. And now a tough one for Williamson. She's able to get it over. Now from the left side and teaming up for the block, Allison Corsini and Elise Fauerbach. Those two have been a solid duo throughout the season. Coming into the match, Allison Corsini leading the team with 34 blocks. Lauren Corsini second with 32, but Elise Fauerbach, solid numbers herself, 22 blocks. Now Reardon with a clean set for Corsini. Blasts it over, now returned by Attleboro, and Nina Pinto fires it too far over. Now Jessica Matheson again getting some love from the net, but not this time. The eventual point for Milford, and now Maeda will return to the floor. She replaces Fauerbach, and Maeda will serve with Milford 5 points away from an opening set win. A tough setup, but handled by Veronica Esteban. Now here's Corsini, and she sends it off of the libero, Matheson, and out. A kill for Corsini, and now the service game continues for Maeda. She looks to close out this opening set. This time Matheson able to handle it. Now a deflection from in front. Another chance for Pinto, and she's able to blast it through the duo at net. Katasevskis and McGovern, they could not block the shot from Pinto, and now a 22-12 score. And another very good serve from Maeda. Again in some trouble on the back row, and a nice job by Jessica Matheson to keep that alive. Now Corsini gets stuffed, and good effort from Sutton, and a nice attempt by Reardon and Maeda to track that ball down, but Just a good heads-up play by Attleboro. Off the blast in front, they were able to quickly get the return. And now Calcagny trying to give her team a boost, now cutting the deficit to 9. Maeda the first to get to that one. A couple of tough hits. Maeda upset with herself. She was not able to absorb that the way she would have wanted. And now 23-15, Attleboro making things interesting. Milford looked like they were about to cruise to an opening set win. Now Pinto with a chance. She has her shot blocked. Another chance. Getting a little too ahead of herself. Putting too much on the return after Milford was able to make a desperation save off the net. Five straight points for Attleboro. And now Corsini's shot rejected. And for right now, Coach Weber refusing to call the timeout. She wants to see her team figure this out on the floor. Some of the Milford football team in attendance trying to will on a momentum change, and they're able to get it as Calcagny's serve goes into the net, and it puts Milford at set point. And Alvarenga returns to the floor trying to deliver this final point to give Milford an opening set victory. Cannot get it over the net. The lead down to 6. So Attleboro will look to stay alive with their captain Faith Hindi taking over on serve. And so trying to get the personnel sorted out. Coach Weber having a conversation with the official up at the net. As Maeda steps in to get the dig. Now here's Pinto. Can't keep it in. Pinto trying to find her stroke here in this first set. She's delivered a lot of shots long. And now Williamson and Maeda both go after that one. Reardon sets it up. Another chance for Pinto. Takes some off of that one. Ends up being playable on the back row for Matheson. Now this return shot is long for Attleboro. And so Milford will survive this first set after the Lady Bombardiers put on a solid comeback bid. But Milford is able to take the opener by a score of 25-19. So Milford up 1-0. We'll take a quick break while they flip the floor, and we'll be back with second set action between Milford and Attleboro as we bring you girls volleyball action right here on Milford TV. Time to get the second set started between Milford and Attleboro. Sydney Sutton will deliver the first serve. Another sinker. Attleboro initially able to get to it, but sent into the net by Chelsea Calcagny. Milford building up a big lead in that first set. But Attleboro making it interesting in the end, and no doubt some sharp words from Coach Weber for her team in between sets. Trying to do a better job of closing out their opponent. And they're able to start off strong. Quick 2 points on Sutton's serve. another point. Sydney Sutton, by all accounts in game, fairly mild-mannered, not one of the more loud, outspoken players on the court, but really lets her play do the talking for her. Very much a silent assassin. She is very good from behind the service line. Of course, a solid defender. And credit Attleboro, going a long way to keep that ball in play. Now able to absorb the spike from Corsini. Now they'll try it from the left side, having to underhand that one over. Now Reardon will set it for Williamson. Williamson tries for the flick shot, but cannot get it past that duo up front. Haley Fake in particular, able to get a hand on that one. So that breaks up the early string. And after making the good play, we'll see Fake take over on serve. Can't get it over. Now Alyssa Williamson. Hard serve that time. Now cross court, effective for Attleboro, dropping that one in the end right in the middle of the floor, out of everyone's reach. So now Jessica Matheson, the junior. And this one sent over to the scorer's table off the hands of, I believe, Julia Reardon. Now a 1-point margin here early on. Matheson finds Sydney Sutton. Now Fauerbach and Pinto help each other out on the return. And now a shot from Calcagni is long. And a 5-3 Hawks lead as we see a return to the floor for Brianna Maeda. Matheson all the way to the net, popped over. Now traveling a long way, Maeda. Reardon with her back to the net, able to return it, and no one reacts. And Reardon able to get the kill. Outstanding effort once again from the junior captain, and all she can do is smile after getting a kill on a play like that. And this one sent all the way over on a single shot, and Corsini going against Katasevskis. Katasevskis wins that battle. You can see the height similarity between the two. Similar height and wingspan, an even battle so far on the night. And now Sutton, a great diving attempt. Again, the effort there, as always, for Sutton. That's going to limit the Milford lead back down to 1. Calcagni's serve to the middle. Williamson digs it. Now Corsini making sure that one was not returnable. And she will be replaced now by Lauren Corsini. Allison once again having a strong game. Lauren checking in here with Anna Alvarenga. Alvarenga to serve with Milford up by 2. And again, a wall up front for Milford, refusing to let that shot make its way over. It did end up glancing off the net. could not get the height on the serve that time. Still just a 2-point margin, and a quick return to the floor for Allison Corsini now. Faith Hindi with the serve. Now Pinto deflects it off the front row and out. The velocity serving Pinto well there. And now the senior captain will jump on serve. Still just a 3-point differential on the scoreboard. As Pinto's serve is long. Seeing quick exchanges of service games now. Amanda Katasevskis will take over the serve on the Attleboro side. Pinto just able to save that one in the front row of the stands. Reardon came over to try to help as well. Milford just could not get it back over, and that one drifting right over in the vicinity of several members of the Scarlet Hawks football team coming in from practice and staying to take in this girls' volleyball action. Katasevskis sending it beyond the back line. And now Reardon will try to settle Milford into a groove. Set up towards the right side, and that one going outside the antenna. A call that we saw take place in the Canton game, to the dismay of the Milford bench. It was more the timing of when the call was made rather than the call itself, as that serve went careening into the back of the head of Lauren Corsini. She gets a smile out of it. Now from the left side, flipped over. An effective play for Attleboro as they cut it to just a 1-point Milford lead. So again, similar to what we saw in the first set, Milford leading virtually all the way. But having trouble extending the lead. And now that lead completely evaporating as Attleboro's able to even it up at 11. That one ending up on the Milford side and mistiming it up front. And we'll finally see the first time out of this match. It's called by Milford as they let a lead slip away, and now Attleboro able to jump on top by a score of 12-11. Again, we'll take the timeout. More to come in a moment here on Milford TV. How will Milford adjust out of the timeout? Reardon able to keep that play alive. Milford returns. Now Corsini. We've seen that play yield positive results on both sides. This time Lauren Corsini able to get the flip shot just over the net and just out of the reach of the Attleboro front row. And now Sydney Sutton will serve with the game once again tied. And that takes a hard deflection off the back row. And Milford with a couple of consecutive points out of the timeout. They lead this set 13-12, and you can make it 14-12. As that ball leaves the gym, Attleboro has to track it down. Milford also leading the set, or leading the match, I should say, 1-0. Hoping to put an end to a losing streak. Matheson having to step up to make the play. Sends it to her counterpart, Sutton. Now Williamson. And they're going to give the point to Attleboro. Too many touches on the Milford side. Milford with just 7 matches remaining on their regular season schedule after this game today. And a lot of those will come away from the Milford gym, as this blast is going to go far too long. We mentioned they'll be home next on October 15th. And just 2 other home games after that. Home again on October 22nd in a matchup against Stoughton, and then they'll be back home for their final regular season game, which will once again be against the Hopedale Lady Blue Raiders, which we believe will once again be the coaches versus cancer game. So including this game tonight, just 4 home matches remain. Milford hoping they can take care of business on their home field, or their home floor, I should say. A slim lead in the second set, 16-14, with Williamson on serve. Line drive serve out of the hand of Williamson. And the infraction up at the net, committed by Hannah Tarbox. And now Cavalcagni trying to punch that one over. Could not clear the net. And a couple of very quick points for Milford, and this will now force Coach DeRocher to call a timeout. 18-14 the score. Milford leads in the second set. They lead the match 1-0 on this coverage of Milford High School girls volleyball on Milford TV. Williamson continuing the service game and continues it with an ace. Bringing Milford closer to a stranglehold over this match. That one just staying in. Attleboro had to play it, and they will not be able to return it. The deflection off into the stands gives Milford now a 6-point edge, and more importantly, 5 points away from the set win. Play now set to resume. Williamson this time sending it just long. Attleboro able to course correct and let that one go right at the last minute. Cuts it back down to a 5-point lead, and now Jessica Matheson will serve for the visitors. Clean setup by Fauerback for Allison Corsini. And right back on serve goes Milford. It'll once again be Brianna Maeda. Maeda able to absorb that. Now set up for Corsini. Too strong. Chelsea Calcagni, the captain, looking to keep her team in it. That one deflected off the front. Attleboro still able to keep the play going. Now Corsini picks the back corner. Well placed for Allison Corsini, who now leaves for sister Lauren. Now Varenga steps back behind the line with 3 more points left to get in the second set. Now played back, and now Milford with a couple of players going after it. Here's Pinto to the back for Matheson, now straight up in the air, and two-handed over calmly by Calcagni. Now to the back, but not in. One of our longer rallies of the match, and Attleboro able to survive and get the point. Milford leads by 5, but again, having a little trouble closing out the set. Now Riordan sets it back for Pinto. And now trying for the flip shot, and very frustrated with herself. Tried to catch Attleboro by surprise, the motion a little too quick, and wasn't able to get the height over the net. Tightening up a little bit more. Now Williamson. Milford able to save it with a nice play and back. Now the blast to the near side, and that stays in. Getting uncomfortably close now at 22-19. Now Corsini, she gets stuffed. And Coach Weber has to call the timeout with the lead now down to just 2. And so issues late in the set once again for Milford. Coach Weber will talk it over with her team, and we'll see the conclusion of this second set when we come back after this here on Milford TV. Milford has not had a 3-set sweep victory so far this season. Of their 5 wins so far on the year, they've all gone at least 4 sets, with a couple going the distance. Milford hoping to put themselves in position to sweep this one here tonight, but in a battle now in set number 2. Attleboro with eyes on evening this match. Now the setup for Pinto, and that clipped the tape on top of the net and then deflected off the front row before going out. And Pinto will now take over serve. Looking for those final 2 points. And a very good serve. Dropped in front of the senior captain on the Attleboro side, Chelsea Calcagni. She could not make a play. And now set point again for the Lady Scarlet Hawks. Softly pushed over by Attleboro. Now Corsini, that gets deflected. Maeda able to return. Now Sutton That one drifts over. Corsini pops it high up in the air, and now Reardon is able to flick it onto a vacated spot on the floor to give Milford the set victory, 25-20. And so neither of these first two sets have been easy wins for Milford, but in the end they've been able to get it done, so they claim now a 2-0 advantage in this Davenport meets Kelly Rex matchup with Attleboro. A quick break here, and then we will start set number 3. Milford now hoping to get the sweep. We'll see the start of set number 3 right after this here on Milford TV. These first two sets have played out very similarly so far on the night tonight. Milford leading most of the way, but Attleboro making things tough late. Milford winning set 1, 25-19. They just won set 2, 25-20. And now hoping for the sweep. And Attleboro can't get the opening serve over the net. And that is how we start this third set. This coverage tonight here on Milford TV, bringing you girls volleyball action. It's our 4th match of the season. Milford trying to improve on a 5-5 record. Now some nice play in front, and ultimately Hannah Tarbach's able to get it over. Now Corsini with a blast. Now pushed back over by Attleboro. Abby Reichert into the game, setting that one up from the right side. And eventually Milford able to get the point. We have not seen much of the junior Abby Reichert on the court so far this season. I do believe she suffered a leg injury last season that she was coming back from, but now an opportunity to get out there here in this third set. Of course, the younger sister of the recently graduated standout athlete Kelly Reichert. A 2-1 score now as the serve flips over once again to the Attleboro side for Haley Fake. Now Reardon will set it up for Williamson. Williamson sending that one into the net to tie this third set at 2. Coach Weber hoping to see a complete effort out of her team in this third set. Reardon will set it up for Reichert, who lofts it to the back row. And Sutton over. Does it stay in? No, it does not. And Sydney Sutton showing that ability to get to virtually everything. Nearly stealing that point. Now another serve offline. Back to Williamson. Williamson collecting an ace in the second set. Gives her team a 4-3 lead early on in this third set. Now set up on the right side. Here's Pinto. Good timing for Pinto. Ultimately leads to a Milford point. Nina Pinto mentally tough. Had a shaky start in this match back in the first set. Did not let that affect her. Has delivered in some key spots. Attleboro having a tough time behind the service line so far here in the third set. As As Reichert will head to the bench, Brianna Maeda back out and back on serve. The only players on the bench for Milford that have not seen game action yet tonight, April Swain and the freshman Sarah Bergioli, who, as we've set up for the last couple of matches, we've seen also seeing some considerable time on the JV side. Six to 5 as Williamson meets that serve. Corsini delivers it over. And now Maeda and Reardon. And Reardon called for the double hit. Ties the score at 6. Calcagni again for Williamson, who sends it all the way back over. Returned by Attleboro. Now Pinto blasts it off the front row for the kill. And Alvarenga back out. Now the front row taking some heat off, but the ball lands in the vacated middle of the floor. So we stay even through the early points here in the third set. Pinto, another strong shot, and it ends up leading to the point. Attleboro could not regroup. Pinto now will serve it out with Milford up by 1. And Pinto muscling that one a bit too much. Now Amanda Katasevskis, and she led the Hockomock League in blocks a season ago. Big piece of the nucleus here for Attleboro, and still just, well, now in her senior year, so she led in blocks as a junior, now back as one of the senior captains. Delivering a lead for her team now in this third set, up 9-8. And she'll loft that serve just a bit too long. Milford tying it up, and it looks like we'll see Abby Reichert make a return to the floor as Julia Reardon steps behind the service line. Good effort by Matheson on the Attleboro side, but she delivers it out on the near sideline. It's been a subdued crowd here in Milford tonight. We've seen some pretty sizable crowds for a lot of the matches we've been to this season. A smaller crowd here tonight, and with a lot of the hometown fans set up on the opposite set of bleachers than we typically see, at least for volleyball. Milford back on top, 11-9, as Reardon continues the serve. So Reardon riding the ship for Milford, and now again Coach DeRocher calling the timeout on the Attleboro side. We are at 12-9, Milford leading Attleboro here in the third set. A win for Milford will mean a victory for the Lady Scarlet Hawks. They'll keep it going right on the other side of this break here on Milford TV. Reardon hoping to keep it going on serve after the timeout. Delivers it to the back for Matheson. And Reichert deflecting that one, might have reached over. Bench showing some support to Reichert as she tries to settle into the flow of the game. And we have not been to every match this season, but Reichert with limited in-game experience. Attleboro able to cut it back down to a single-point lead. They have a long way to go to climb back into the match, but as we mentioned earlier, their lone victory on the season came in a match where they lost the first 2 sets, but were able to dig their way back in and ultimately come away with the victory. In that match with Sharon, losing sets 25-19 and also 25-11. So I do beg your pardon. That was actually more of a back and forth match. Attleboro losing the first set, or winning the first set before losing the second. It ultimately did go 5, and they were able to edge out that 5th set 15-11. But regardless, able to overcome some serious adversity to win their first match of the year. As Williamson now delivers a hard shot to the back row, and the return from Attleboro goes long to the far sideline, and now back on top by a point goes Milford, 14-13. It was at this point in the second set that Milford was able to expand the lead. We're on the verge of a comfortable win before Attleboro climbed back in. Milford winning that second set 25-20. They lead now in this third set 15-13. And Sutton sending that one right in the direction of Faith Hindi. Played it awkwardly, and it ends up falling to the floor for a Milford point. Ball taking a bounce through the gym entryway where Coach Weber was able to track it down for Sydney Sutton. Matheson able to track that one down deep. Attleboro gets it back over, now over the middle for Corsini. And Milford off the net, able to punch it back over. And now Sutton with the diving play gets it over the net. And Milford gets the point. Some luck on Milford's side on that rally. A couple of desperation plays off the net. Sutton with the diving sprawling play, and ultimately Milford takes a 17-13 lead, starting to inch closer to that 3-set sweep. Can they do it? We'll find out when we come back after this here on Milford TV. Sydney Sutton out of the timeout. Line drive serve, and good play up front for Attleboro. Keeps it out of Milford's reach. Substitution as Emily McGovern comes back onto the floor for Attleboro. Haley Thake on serve. Williamson goes after it one-handed. lead back down to 2. And after the Corsini blast, Attleboro with a couple of good saves. They'll set it up for Corsini again, and this deflects off the hands of Thake and out. Corsini with so much power once again on full display. Now Williamson able to get another ace. That's her second of the match. Looked like she wasn't happy with how that came off the hand, but ended up working out well for the junior. Now from the left side, Sutton lets it go, and that stays in, just inside the back line. Sutton usually with sound judgment in the back, but did not read that one cleanly. Now at 19-16, the serve from Jessica Matheson, and the sliding save made by Sutton. The Milford front row thinking that one was going to clear the net. It did not. Now Attleboro down by just 2, still a ways to go in the set. Another dive for Sutton. Reichert to Corsini. And now calmly going after that one, Reardon. And Pinto making contact there with the net. (19-18). And now the two officials taking a moment to verify with one another before making the call. The point awarded to Attleboro. It's tough to tell which side that came down on. And so 19-all now, a race to the finish line. Here's Pinto, she gets rejected. And Attleboro's going to take a 20-19 lead, and Coach Weber now has to call the timeout to talk things over. Attleboro with some gritty play, as they've done all night long late in the sets. This time they've given themselves a 20-19 advantage. And again, timeout taken on the floor as we bring you coverage of Milford High School girls volleyball on Milford TV. Milford returns to the floor onto the timeout, now trailing in this third set 20-19. A closely contested finish. Milford hoping for the sweep. Attleboro is wanting to extend this match a little bit longer. And Coach DeRocher continuing to guide her team before this next serve. Sent out by Jessica Matheson. Williamson steps up, now in trouble. Pinto slaps it over one-handed, but delivers it wide to the far side. And now Attleboro opening up a 2-point advantage. And the fans in attendance now on the Milford side feeling much more uncomfortable. Reardon takes that one from the back row. And now Pinto. Does she find the line this time? Yes. No, they'll change the decision. Initially ruled a point for Milford, but again, the two officials check with one another, and then the call changed. And now the momentum halted momentarily for Attleboro after the serve goes into the net. 22-20. Milford with some work to do. And Brianna Maeda hoping to get things going back in her team's favor. And starts off strong in the service game as that one cannot be returned. Back to just a 1-point difference. And Maeda not messing around, immediately calling for that ball. She wants to immediately release another serve. Now lofted back over. Reardon the setup for Corsini. And that one taking a friendly deflection for Attleboro. Now Corsini again sends it off the hands of the front. The kill for Allison Corsini knots it back up now at 22 all. Now again to the back for Calcagni. And Calcagni again gets it back and rifles it over out of the reach of Milford. And so now Attleboro back on top, 23-22. They're 2 points away from earning their first set victory of the night. Calcagni now on serve. Sutton able to save that one. Reardon gets it over. Now Sutton again. Reardon sets it up for Williamson. Now over the middle. Sutton pulls the hands in, and that one long. Tied back up at 23, and what a finish to this third set. Anna Alvarenga will return to the floor. Line drive serve, immediately returned. Reardon to Alvarenga, who could not get good position. And so now, that was a pivotal point. Both teams 2 points away from the set win, and now Attleboro on serve for a set point. And Milford calling the timeout. Looked like some late personnel moves that Coach Weber wanted to make, and so instead decides to call for the timeout. So 24-23. One more point for Attleboro, and we'll see a fourth set. Just a quick timeout called here by the Lady Scarlet Hawks. They immediately retake the floor now. Lauren Corsini, Julia Reardon, and Nina Pinto up front. Alyssa Williamson, Brianna Maeda, and Sydney Sutton. It's the 6 on the floor right now for the Lady Scarlet Hawks, as Coach DeRocher on the other side continues to talk over strategy with her team. A lot of energy on the Attleboro side right now. And the JV squad for Attleboro as well, doing the majority of the cheering in the stands, as the Lady Bombardiers now retake the floor. So here we go. Attleboro leading 24-23. They have the set point. Their senior captain, Faith Hindy, on serve. And that one softly sent over. Nice dig for Sydney Sutton. Now lofted over. Maeda gets there. Here's Corsini. Played on the back row. It takes a hop off the basketball net. And Milford lucky there. That one was close to going out. It was too close for Matheson to risk it. She made the play. Took the deflection off of the basketball net on the rooftop. So now tied at 24. Here's Pinto on serve. And she's able to get the ace. And now Milford with match point at 25-24. So a very quick flip of momentum. The senior captain can deliver the match right here. Now to the back row, and this is going to deflect hard off into the crowd, and that is that. So Milford with a huge scare here in this third set, but they survive. They take it 26-24, and for the first time all season, Milford is able to earn a 3-set sweep. They really had to work for it in the end, but they defeat Attleboro 3-0. So Milford now back on the right side of 500 at 6-5 overall on the season. And despite a very good effort here tonight, a tough loss for Attleboro will send them to 1-11 overall on the year. So that will wrap things up for our coverage here tonight. A big thank you to our crew on hand, our camera operators, Malcolm Zale and Scott Crisafulli, our statistician for the game tonight, Derek Birchtold, and our director, Rob O'Keefe. And I am Tim Coet. That final score, one final time, a 3-set sweep for Milford over the Attleboro Lady Bombardiers. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.